Alright everyone, another week, another tale of some media organization, lamestream media organization downsizing and reducing its ambitions due to money problems. Of course, when the year dawned, we had Salon. Couldn't make its payments, literally pay its rent in its offices. Had to downsize, I believe laid off a few staff in so doing. And didn't exactly need all 5 night janitors anymore, considering the smaller space, I guess. They only had to make do with 3. Had to choose they had to cut the dude who only had 1 leg. That became a problem. People were complaining about the noise. Now Vox is joining Buzzfeed, CNN, Salon, and these others in apparently downsizing. The other one, big one, was CNN. They not only did they cut several of their major projects, they said, oh yeah, we're scaling back, we're cutting 50 positions. Growth just isn't happening for us on these online streams and on our website. I guess it's because so many people, instead they're subbing to CNN's free page and just looking at clips from CNN. That's if they even care, and half of them are there, I guess, to troll. It's like, it's spectacular. It's wild as hell. Now Vox, apparently, is cutting 5% of its staff. That's pretty significant. I'll tell you what's happening. These missing link media groups, that is, they're predominantly or only online, as opposed to maybe a cable order. They have, I think, more problems right now with revenue, specifically because because they don't have the cable show to bring in the multi-million-dollar endorsements. They can get whatever ads they want. They can air nonstop killing footage and GM will still do an ad with them. They still get paid. That's not the way it's working online. Online ad revenue is drying up. The ad-based internet, I'm here to tell you, over the next 10 years is dead. It will die off. Ads are not the future of the internet. I'll tell you what is. It's a combination of crowdfunding on one end, selling of merchandise, tangible real-world things, number 2. Probably subsidies from governments for, if it ever declares these large sites public utilities, number 3. And number 4, crypto and things like that, honestly. Making things less expensive by decentralizing the ability to make very small sums from people in terms of processing, or very, very small donations to use a site, spread over wide areas. Therefore, people who are generating significant audiences going forward in the next few years will do, I think, quite well. They'll do perfectly fine. Groups, though, that are already backsliding, like Vox, like Salon, like Buzzfeed, and all of the others, they're not going to make it. Half of them probably won't exist. What will end up happening is they'll attack and cannibalize one another the same way we see within cable news. At some point, the pool of people watching cable news will be small enough so that they won't all be able to make ends meet with the old type of cable, inefficient cable fundraising, which is basically ad-driven sponsorships, things like that. Eventually, whatever network is the weakest is likely to be jettisoned or fail and go bankrupt entirely, or get restructured or absorbed by one of the others. You'll have less than 5 major networks, you'll only have 4. At some point, that'll probably happen. My best guess, I think, at this point, is that CNN is the one that loses out. Considering they're downsizing earlier than anyone else, considering they're taking a pounding constantly in the ratings, considering the fact that now they're going to be the oldest network, that is, their audience collectively will be the oldest. They're beginning to supplant Fox on that count. They're the ones, I think, that go out. They looked the strongest. You never would have guessed 5 years ago that would happen. Now, though, it's a different story. With missing link media, you're also going to have cannibalization. What'll happen is a consolidation of these older forms of media. We've seen it before. Cable has been consolidating over time. It used to be there were dozens and dozens of major networks. Now there aren't. Now there are only a few of them. I think there's 6 total. Merging in on 5, I believe now, actually, at the moment. Wasn't there a major merger between 2 of them, and they just had to... Wasn't CNN actually up in questioned as to whether they would have to cut it or not? Due to an antitrust suit by the government, led by Trump? I think it was, actually, if I remember correctly. Some merger was denied unless they do that, and then they had to jettison them to a different company or something. So, yeah, you're going to see a further consolidation. There will, by the way, I hate to say this, there will come a day when online, in independent commentary, you have the same process at play. You're already beginning to see it. More and more people are paying attention to fewer and fewer overall individuals. There's a centralizing on YouTube as well of attention in the hands of fewer people, used to be, because nobody had significant audiences other than a few e-celebs. That you would have, the average person, how many people they sub to. I used to sub to hundreds of people. It's a lot less now. the number of people that are generating content is honestly on the decline. Not because the platform's having difficulties, but because people are having difficulties competing with people who are already established. I see that as one part good, maybe in my case, but also one part bad, because then you have people who are very talented. They're not going to have the patience to outlast the algorithmic problems, the manipulation, the lack of interest in their formative stage. So basically, if in the first week or month they don't generate enough of an audience, they just give up. Even if they're very talented and interesting, then you have some dead account, and I've come across them. You'll have some dead account that hasn't uploaded in 5-6 years, very, very entertaining, extremely talented material, and they didn't want to keep making material. They did it for a while, and then they dropped it as a project. But Vox and these missing link media groups, the 2000s or late 90s era sort of drudge spin-off groups, they're going to suffer way worse and way earlier. We see in cable news, as it is now, the future of missing link media maybe 10, 20 years from now. That is, there will be a few dozen left, maybe at most. They won't be useful. Most of their presence, if they survive at all, will be on these other gargantuan sites, or, increasingly I believe, within alt tech. They'll use alt tech to buff themselves up, and they'll have to skew themselves to be more liberty-loving. You may see a situation where groups that do have substantial audiences, declining but substantial, end up joining with alt tech and making the case going forward, hey, we need more liberty online. We're tired of these much bigger cable firms that are still there as a remnant, bullying us because we're smaller, even though we have multi-million-dollar companies. We just can't compete with them with these advertisers. They keep screwing with us. And so it's become a problem. They have too many ties to the government. Render them public utilities or whatever. They're going to begin making that case, I think. You're going to see the day, I believe, for fiscal reasons only, where individuals within politics take up that line too, where they begin going against the establishment mold for fiscal reasons, because some of these groups that they're partnering with, they're giving them individually smaller sums to their campaigns or whatever, but they're more numerous because they haven't centralized as much, and so they go to bat for independent content creators or for the missing link media. You will, though, I think in 20 years, you'll see a vastly different landscape among independent commentary too. You're going to see groups consolidate. You're going to see confederation. You see it with blood sports right now. You see people who on their own have decent platforms increasingly meshing together and doing shows together and stuff. There's a reason for that. You can hedge your bets on who you think succeeds more. People probably should look into that. You're going to see more live content, more of a radio and or TV style format, more literally channels. YouTube channels as opposed to simply pages where people put standalone video. There will always be a place for that, but it'll become less prevalent, I think, over time. Keep that in mind. And more centralized, probably 10 times more centralized than it is now. There'll be 1/10 the people making a significantly larger degree of the content. That's my prediction over the next few years on YouTube. I want to, by the way, be part of that. I'm considering the possibility maybe I should just join somebody else's endeavor as a person instead of trying to do it myself. Because, it'd be more difficult to do that. But then, always form a group of people together. And it's fun. It really is. But yeah, Vox is suffering 5% less staff to work with. That means 5% less efficiency of content while having probably the same overhead. If they're in the same building doing the same thing, they're just going to have to work harder for the same end result. And then they get in the news, everyone else laughs about it, maybe it demoralizes some people, and they're like, fuck Vox then. I'm not going to bother paying attention to their content. They won't even be around. Why should I bother? You've already seen some of the earliest wave sites, things that were very popular years ago. ICQ Chat is a great example. They collapse. They can't make ends meet anymore. They get jettisoned by their parent company. Who's to say that these parent firms, as cable or as these smaller, these web-only sites, magazines, legacy magazine like Newsweek, as they become less powerful, less capable of generating content at all, why wouldn't they just go to independent content creators with, hundreds of thousands or millions of subscribers or a good blog or whatever and just say, hey, can we get a deal? Yeah, we'll feed you some stories. We want you to give your take on this and we'll edit it for you and we'll give you cha-ching, lots of money. They're going to start trying to do that. I strongly recommend people hold off. We need to hold the line against these propagandists. So we can let them fail. Long term, you'll succeed more if you ignore them. Short term, you'll do really well fiscally if you sort of decide to suck corporate teat alongside maybe a Salon or a CNN. Long term, they're going to be the ones that collapse. You'd still be standing if you don't work with them. Don't let them take you down with them. That's about all. Peace out.